Live from CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference in Washington, D.C. This is a very special edition of the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. And, of course, you can watch us now on the AUN TV network. We are broadcasting in Pelosi country. And if you would like, check out our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. We do rebroadcasts there of our shows. We're here coming to you from our network studio at CPAC, and we have a real longtime friend of this show, Nicole Neily, who's the president and founder of Speech First. This must be right in your territory, Nicole. Welcome back to our Conservative
it's great to be
show.
here. Thank you.
We're here at CPAC. This should be a place of free speech. Do you find that that's the case? Or
Absolutely. All different viewpoints. Raucous debate. So it's great. It's great to be among friendly faces and to see a bunch of conservative superstars.
Okay, so when you come here, then you're kind of preaching to the choir. Talk to us a little bit about how you get that message beyond those of us that say, "You go, girl, we love your message."
No, you know what? It's interesting because when I talk to students, I feel that some of them have Stockholm syndrome. For want of a better term, they're so used to being treated badly on campuses, and I feel like I'm the one who's doing the intervention, saying it's not okay. It's not okay for you to have to cross your T's and dot all your I's when the College Democrat paperwork sails through with a bunch of errors. It's not okay for you to censor yourself because you fear discipline from your school. This is not okay. And there are some students here who they know their rights and they stand up and they're very brave. They do so even in the face of knowing that Antifa will come after them, knowing that they might end up getting called in for a hearing based on something that they talked about. And those people are the ones who really, they embolden their fellow students. Even if, 9 out of 10 students are too scared to join a Turning Point chapter, to join a YAF chapter, just the mere fact that they see somebody on campus saying, I support President Trump. I believe in reasonable immigration controls. I think marriage is between a man and a woman. Whatever the topic may be, they feel, when they see somebody else expressing that viewpoint, they don't feel so alone. And I think that is so important. And so it's great to be here, both with brave students as well as students who are still kind of feeling their way along, because there are so many students here. It's so exciting.
Well, and you're empowering. They know they're right. They want to speak out, but they're not sure just how those consequences are going to backlash on them, and they're not sure who to call when that happens.
Right, and so that's why we're here. We are a membership organization, so my membership is made up not only of students, but also of concerned citizens, parents, grandparents, alumni, just people who are frustrated about what's going on campus. And so when we file our cases against schools, it's Speech First versus the university instead of being Sharron versus the University of Nevada. And that way I get the hate mail. The students don't get the hate mail. They're anonymous in it. They're listed as student A, student B, student C. So they don't have to deal with that blowback that might come of them challenging their school. And we also are able to get around something called standing. If an individual student, if let's say you were to sue your school, the universities have figured out all they need to do is to wait that student out. You graduate, you transfer, you're kicked out. The courts will say the harm has gone away. And then the school doesn't need to admit fault, they don't need to change anything. As a membership association, as long as we always have a student who is enrolled at that school, our harm is ongoing. So we can take 10 years, we can get to the Supreme Court. And that allows us just to be aggressive about the policies that we challenge, because there are so many schools that have awful policies in the books, and this aggression is unacceptable.
And this is good news for those of us who have lost standing or have been told that we're outside our case is too old.
Right.
We no longer have a case. It's really frustrating to get standing. So this is really good news that you, as an organization, can put that case forward.
Yeah.
And the other thing, of course, is the money. Right? I mean, legal representation is not free.
Right, but we work with a great law firm. They're all former Supreme Court clerks, so they're scary to the universities. They're also in the middle of doing the litigation against Harvard on affirmative action, so they're really good at suing schools. And so it's been really exciting to get to know individual students and then to be able to shepherd this process through. We were just in federal court yesterday in our case against the University of Illinois. We're going to be in federal court on Monday in our case against the University of Texas. We filed a new case in January against the Iowa State University, and so, there's a lot of battles to fight, but we're optimistic that we'll be able to make a difference.
Well, and I'm glad to hear that it's not just the Ivy League. You're not just going for the big boys, Harvard, that you're really willing to fight that case in, say, a community college.
Yeah, well, these are public universities, and public universities are state actors. They must uphold the First Amendment, period, full stop. And the fact that they haven't, some of them think, well, why don't we get a heads up? You should have given us a letter letting us know. And I think you don't get a heads up. Your heads up is the Constitution. And if you are not upholding that, we're going to come for you. And I want them all to tell each other, get your policies in order or speech first is going to come for you.
Now, we have a feeder system that goes into that university system. What if I have a high school student or even a junior high student who, these policies are they're down in the grades now. We are seeing this kind of agenda coming to even younger and younger audiences within our public school system. Do you take that at all?
We haven't gone into the K-12 level yet. There was a famous Supreme Court case from 1969, Tinker v. Des Moines, that said that students do have speech rights at lower levels. We have mostly focused on colleges to date. There are so many problems, even just at the college level. We're not working with professors even, only with students. So I welcome and I encourage people to fight back and push back at the lower levels, because you're right, a lot of this starts much earlier. And it is so hard for parents to think about some of the indoctrination that goes on, some of the classes and the content of these lessons, to try and maintain your values at home while not getting your student in trouble. And then, it gets time to leave the nest. It's a hard decision to try and figure out what college to send your student to. It's much more complex than when I went to college. It was looking at what's tuition, what's the scholarship package, the end. I think a lot more research needs to go into the front end to figure out how do they treat some of these issues on campus, so you're not sending your child and your money, into the wolf's den.
That's right. You mentioned another sector that we don't really think about too much. We kind of almost think of them as the enemy, and that's the professors in these schools. They're not all locked into that agenda, but they really do feel stifled in their speech.
Yes. Alliance Defending Freedom has a case right now with a professor who decided it was against his Christian beliefs to use students' preferred pronouns. They're transgender students.
Absolutely.
And he was fired for that. And so there are, of those few professors, of which sadly there are not enough, but of those few professors who are right of center, they are very alone. And so I'm glad that there are groups like ADF that are out there fighting for them.
So there are other groups that will fight these, and you can refer. You're just working with college students, but you know who is working with these other
and so I encourage
areas.
Anybody who is listening, watching, if you go to our website, speechfirst.org, first, people can sign up for membership. Membership is only $5, open to students and concerned citizens. But we also have a portal on our website called Share Your Story, where people can write in if they have an issue that's going on, and we'll reach out to them and we'll figure out what's the best way to help you resolve your situation. Is it referring you to another organization? Is it getting you in touch with the Department of Education to file a complaint? There are lots of different ways that we can help some students, we can help individuals defend their rights.
Well, and what you're telling me is you have a network, they don't.
Yes, yeah. So there are lots of groups out there that want to help because it's just so much. It's hard to go more than a couple hours without hearing some latest story, some horrific outrage. And I have small children. I have a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I don't want to send my child to these schools. I don't want them to be subject to this kind of mistreatment. This is unacceptable.
It is, and that's really what's pulled together the whole homeschool movement and the private school movement,
right,
and even the charter school movement, was parents seeking an alternative to what's going on in the public schools. And It's not just poor education, it's this whole, well, we started out this conversation with Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah.
It's this indoctrination. Mm-hmm. Now, when you have clients, do you find that even though they feel persecuted or and like they've gotten trampled on, are they still willing to go back into that setting and do the same things that they were doing? You know, do you find that they're still motivated by fear and also the indoctrination?
Yeah, they credibly fear disciplinary repercussion from their school. One of the policies we've challenged in our 4 cases to date have been policies called bias response teams. Schools have portals on their website where they can anonymously report on speech of their fellow students. This is ripped from East Germany. I mean, this is something the Stasi used to do. Yeah. And so if you believe that somebody in class, your roommate, somebody walking on the quad next to you, overhears a conversation and makes a report against you, it is a logical move to think twice about what words come out of your mouth and what you say to who. That is a terrifying atmosphere to be in. That is un-American, and that is not what college is. College is supposed to be where you have discussions and debates, and maybe you persuade somebody, maybe your own mind has changed. How many students go to school when they're 18 with perfectly formed opinions? Nobody. I mean, come on.
That's where you're to form those opinions through critical thinking, isn't it?
Students are being denied this whole process of developing and figuring out how to interact with each other in the real world. And I mean, this is maybe going to sound a little paranoid libertarian, but I think if you have programs that encourage students to tell the grown-ups, to go, tell the bias response team, instead of dealing with another individual one-on-one, I think that's getting people prepared just for a big government setting, right? It's instead of, if I hear you call somebody a name, it should be incumbent on me as a citizen, as a person, to say, please don't talk to him that way. That's really unkind. Instead, what you're being taught is, all right, I should go tell the grown-ups and they'll fix it. I should go call the cops on my neighbor instead of asking them to trim their bushes. I think that undermines society.
Now, this informant society that is being cultivated on campuses, have you filed suit against that? To me, I would think that would be an area that you could say you can't have that kind of thing on your website.
Yes. We have against Michigan, Illinois, Texas, Iowa State. All these schools have these programs. And I think it is pretty impossible to have a system where students report on each other and say that doesn't chill speech. Unfortunately, the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals agreed with us, and in September we got a great decision. They said, you know what, a lot of these students probably didn't go through the system because their speech had been objectively chilled. So the school agreed to disband that policy altogether, which is a great victory for us, and we hope that that'll be replicated elsewhere.
Yeah, social media does that enough, informing on us.
It's awful.
We don't need our schools and our children being afraid that their school is going to be collecting information.
Right. And how will it be used against you in the future? Will you be denied a scholarship? Will you not get a letter of recommendation you need? How will the school retaliate against you?
Oh, and does that move forward just like your academic records?
Right.
Do you have a social activism sort of record that they will actually put forward as well?
Yeah, where else will they refer this information to? It's a very real concern, and it's something that our students are very mindful of.
Well, I'm so glad you've been our guest here at CPAC. Nicole, Neily, tell us how our listeners can friend you, follow you, connect with you.
Sure. Yeah, we're on speechfirst.org is our website, so you can sign up for our updates or share your story with us. And then also, we're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. We have great memes on Instagram, so I encourage everybody to check that out.
So this is such a great network that you have, Nicole, Neily, and it's for students and their parents. We're so grateful that you join us here at Conservative Commandos Radio Show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care and God bless. And this is Sharron Angle coming to you from CPAC here at Conservative Commandos Radio Show, AUN TV Network, and of course you can get rebroadcasts of our show on our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. There's more to come, so stay with us through this break.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline Refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here! Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution. Because debt sucks!
The AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94.
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
CPAC 2020, and it is our pleasure here at Conservative Command Radio Show to be interviewing a candidate. In fact, I'm a candidate, and we're running for Congress, and it's Dylan Stevenson. New York 10.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes that district kind of special? Can you tell our audience?
I am running against Jerry Nadler in that district, yeah. The bogeyman himself.
Mr. Impeachment.
Yeah, so Jerry Nadler has been there since 1992. To put that in perspective, I was born in 1994. He's been there too long. He's got 2 failed impeachment proceedings to show for it. He's got a massive student debt crisis, a housing crisis, a healthcare crisis. All of those have happened under his watch.
Well, and he's part of a party that is taking us further and further left.
Yeah.
And the theme here at CPAC 2020 is...
Well, America against socialism.
That's absolutely right. And you carry some conservative credentials?
One of the reasons I ran was because I'm concerned about my generation's movement towards socialism.
Yes.
According to a YouGov poll, 50% of millennials consider themselves to have a more favorable view of socialism than capitalism. 73% of them would be open to voting for a socialist. This is a disaster. This is a real problem, and so far the only people speaking about issues that match to the millennial generation are the far left, and that has to change. So if I can use this race as a platform to argue against socialism and talk about how conservatism can solve the problems facing the millennial generation, I'll be very happy.
Well, and you can help the district not far from Jerry Nadler, the AOC district, because we have some conservatives seeking to replace her as well.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of exciting races going on. You have me in New York 10 against Jerry. You have several Republicans trying to oust AOC in New York's 14th. New York's 11th district, Nicole Maliotakis is taking on Max Rose. That's actually the only district that leans Republican in the city of New York. So there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. Long Island, we're looking to take a couple districts back. Upstate, we're trying to hold a couple districts. There's a lot going on in New York.
Talk about your district per se. Largely Jewish population?
It is. So it contains the areas of Borough Park, which is a very Jewish part of Brooklyn. The Upper West Side is also heavily Jewish. And obviously anti-Semitism is on the rise. It's a real shame. It shouldn't be, but sadly it is. And it's on the rise kind of from everywhere. The far right, when they're marching in Charlottesville, they're anti-Semitic. The far left, you have the BDS movement on the far left. They're on the rise. You have radical Islamic jihadism. That's on, sadly, kind of still a factor. And so I was honored to march with thousands of my fellow New Yorkers against anti-Semitism back in January, and making sure that our Jewish brothers and sisters in New York and across the country feel safe in their home, that this country is their home, that we support Israel. I'm very happy to be able to do that.
What are your top issues?
My top issues are student debt is number 1, housing is number 2, healthcare is number 3. All of those are of huge concern to the millennial generation, and in many respects, they're sort of parts of the same whole, particularly student debt and housing. One of the big issues that even President Trump talked about this in 2016 about the American dream is getting home ownership, being able to be on the property ladder. And rent has skyrocketed in New York to the point where it's keeping people out of there, being unable to buy a home. 400,000 New Yorkers live in NYCHA, which is the New York City Housing Authority. It's government housing. 70,000 New Yorkers live on the street. There are 44 million Americans who have $1.6 trillion of student debt between them, which amounts to $35,000, and that may not sound like a hugely insurmountable amount.
It's a lot.
But when you consider the fact that for every $1,000 of student debt that somebody holds, they delay buying a house by 2.5 months, that winds up being between 6 and 7 years on average that people are able to buy a home. So you see that this starts to amount, and suddenly, if you don't have the option to own a home, if you're struggling to get healthcare, suddenly socialism doesn't look so bad. And so what my campaign is trying to do is talk about how actually socialism can't solve those problems. Only conservatism can solve those problems. And if we can do that, we can stop this rise of socialism.
You have an appeal to your generation, the millennials.
Hopefully.
Now, are they going to turn out and vote?
Well, this is another issue that the district skews young. I think about a third of my district is under the age of 34. There are lots of young professionals in the district, but as you say, they don't vote. I think that's a combination of a couple of things. Number one, there's political apathy. They don't, much like many Americans, they don't see the point. Number two is that some of them are on the far left, and that puts off a lot of other people. And three, I think a lot of times they look at the elections and don't see anybody to vote for. I mean, until 2014, for instance, there wasn't really a Republican candidate even running in this district. So people aren't used to going out and being energized and excited about voting for conservatives. If we can do that, if we can energize them, if we can meet them on social media, knock on doors and meet them on their front stoops, as it were, I think we can make some waves.
What are the three biggest faults of Jerry Nadler for your district, and they even recognize it? What would you say?
Well, I think the first one is that he's never there. He always seems to be down in D.C., preferring to rub shoulders with Pelosi and Schiff and all that, rather than being in his district listening to the concerns of his constituents. Frankly, if my campaign can get him to be listening, be in New York more, that would be a very successful job. Part two is impeachment. He was part of a big house, the house flipped in 2018. One of the things they said they were going to do was, this is the healthcare election, they're the healthcare party. Haven't done a damn thing about it. All they've done is impeach. Congressman Nadler has wasted tens of millions of dollars on this impeachment charade and now has absolutely nothing to show for it. So he's failed in that regard as well. And 3, it's the fact that on his watch, all of these things that have hurt New Yorkers, whether it's rising crime, rising rents, failing transportation system, all of these things have happened while he's been in Congress. And frankly, it's not clear to anyone what exactly he's done to help them.
Very ineffective then.
Very highly ineffective congressman, as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure that if you are a cronyist, big government liberal, he might be, it might be exactly your kind of guy. But there aren't, I think most New Yorkers want somebody who's going to represent them effectively.
What kind of policies would you like to author, laws, and how you would like to be effective? Tell our audience.
Well, so the first one is, I talked about student debt, cutting the interest rates on student debt. So for those of you who don't know, interest rates on student debt can be as high as 7.6%. Yeah. Compare that to what you're making in your your savings account. It's astronomical. So if we can find a way to reduce those interest rates, we wouldn't have to forgive student debt, but we would make it easier to pay back, and that would be a huge, financial and mental burden off people. Number 2, offering bankruptcy protection to those who have student loans. Yes. Currently, if you declare, if you have a student loan, that's with you till you die. You can't declare bankruptcy on it, which is ridiculous. We can change that. Let's make rent tax deductible. That would effectively be a huge tax cut to,
certainly New York.
Yeah, certainly in New York, to particularly the poor, to the young, to people who have to pay rent more than the average person.
Now it is state deductible in Indiana, my state.
Oh, because that's a great state. I went to school there.
That's right. You're a Fighting Irishman.
I am indeed, yeah. It's the only time I've ever cheered for the Fighting Irish. But it was a great place to go. As I mentioned before we started talking, I worked up to get Jackie Walorski reelected, helped Todd Young come back from 26 points down against Evan Bayh, help Eric Holcomb get elected, just doing what I can in St. Joseph's County up in northern Indiana.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
We need to get you on the Sean Hannity show.
I would love to be on the Sean Hannity show, my God. Who wouldn't?
And I think he advertises SoFi on his radio, which you're talking about student debt reduction. I mean, there's a private way to do that.
Yeah, well, that's another part. The quick fixes, as it were, are the ones outlined, but there is a structural issue that this is effectively a monopoly of the federal government. And, John Sherman, the great Republican senator from Ohio back in the 1800s, talked about how monopolies have the ability to hurt consumers, producers, young, old, rich, poor. And so we need to take this monopoly out of the hands of the federal government and find a way of making, incentivizing universities to lower costs, not raise them, find a way to get the private sector more involved, find a way to get students to have other options of, progressing materially beyond student loans.
Are you pro-life?
Yes, I adopt the Reagan rule. I'm also Roman Catholic. I am pro-life, as Ronald Reagan was, except in instances of rape, incest, and where the life of the mother is at risk.
That should play well in your district.
I would think so.
For a long time, the Democrats have skirted that, and now their platform is just absolutely any of the 9 months.
Well, I mean,
you can kill the baby.
I'm of the opinion that this is a matter of conscience, and that there shouldn't really be an enforced party line. You shouldn't be cracking the whip on this. You should be allowing every elected official and individual in this country to find it within themselves as what their conscience is and to vote with that. And I think that the far left on the Democrat side has turned into abortionist dogmas or dogmatic abortionists, where they are not allowing that anymore. And you see pro-life Democrats being driven out of the party that had been their home and had welcomed them for decades. I think it's a very sad thing. I'd like to see us return to that sort of, treating it as a matter of conscience rather than
Well, we just have about a minute and a half, maybe a minute.
Yeah.
We want our listeners, our viewers, to be able to support you. So give the website, contact information, and any closing thoughts here in the next minute.
So come to my website at stevensonforcongress.com. I'm on Twitter at Stevenson4NY, Instagram at StevensonDS94. You can find me on WinRed at Dylan Stevenson for New York's 10th District. Please come and support. We need people to help volunteer, to knock on doors, to help get petition to get on the ballot. We need money to help so that we can put out flyers and make ads and all that. We have a great social media ad now. Everything we've done so far is with volunteer work alone. People who believe so strongly in our message, they're willing to give us their time. But we need to be able to do more, and anything you can offer will be extremely helpful for that.
Well, you have my endorsement.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and vice versa. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on Conservative Commander Radio Show.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
God bless.
Thank you.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The secret war is yours, free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare.
Call 800-209-5173.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day and injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call now and learn how to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos here at CPAC 2020. If you think I'm talking loud, it's because we're at CPAC and there's people everywhere and there's noise and laughter and
fantastic. It
is fantastic. And I am here with Mike Fury, and you are with the Build the Wall Foundation.
I'm with We Build the Wall. I'm the director of construction operations. Work for Brian Colfage, our hero, who started the GoFundMe page just a little over a year ago. To date, we've put up over 4 miles and been an investor in mileage as well. And we've got more projects coming up very shortly. Things are going very well. We've got a lot of donors and a lot of support. 500,000 Americans realize there's going to be a major problem at the Rio Grande Valley and across the southern border of the United States.
Interesting. So you're not waiting for the government to build the wall. You guys are doing it.
That's correct. We built our first wall last May. We did a property on a private landowner up the side of a mountain that the Corps of Engineers said would take 18 to 20 months and be $40 million. And we went up the side of the mountain with our contractor, Fisher Industries, in less than 14 days and put a highway in and put fiber optic packages in. A very successful project, very safe.
Wow. So this sounds quintessentially American to me. Americans are very can-do. And when there's a problem, they're able to fix it. And I think sometimes the government's not very can-do. Government's awfully good at telling us all the reasons something can't be done. And what I heard you talking about was all the reasons that you couldn't build a wall in this location. It would take too much time, too much money, blah, blah, blah. And you guys got it done.
That's correct. We actually bolster the President's Wall program. We have 500,000+ donors that don't go to dinner on a Friday night once a month, don't grab a pizza with the kids, and they send a $20 bill or a $50 or $100 bill in. And we've been building multi-million-dollar projects with that capital. And we're judicious, and we have more projects and more projects and more projects. We just have to keep the money coming in, and we'll keep on building.
Well, that's impressive. Sadly, our government doesn't work that way.
Well, I can't throw stones or shots. I can tell you one thing, that the liberal Congress, they're not liberal, they're socialist. This thing's over for them. There's no more democracy. We live in a republic. They missed that coming out of the shoot in 1776. Big problem there. We're moving forward as a country. President Trump has done a magnificent job of making this thing move. This thing is running like an 8-day watch. This is a beautiful, beautiful economic rebound from the Obama administration, and he's doing a fantastic job of bringing everybody. If you want in the game, you're out making money. We're having a good time. People are going to dinner. People are going on trips. Everybody's got disposable income from lowering the taxes. And he's absolutely crushing the competition. Somebody finally stepped up and said, why should we pay for this? You got to pay us. China, tariffs, Europe. We've been paying for Europe for 75 years. The war ended in World War II. We're still paying. Not anymore. Great job.
Well, that's an interesting point, because I think there have been some, the Wall Street, not the Wall Street Journal, excuse me, the New York Times, the Washington Post, ABC, NBC, CBS. They will criticize the president, saying that he's, I've heard them say he's ruined NATO. Of course, he hasn't ruined NATO. He's actually strengthened it, because now our allies are pulling their weight, and so that we actually have a better alliance because we're not the only ones in it.
That is correct. We're not paying everybody's wage.
Yeah, but and you see this kind of playing out over and over again. And the reality is, when the president says he wants to put America first, he's assuming and understands that the other countries do the same thing. That's kind of like when you go to a used car lot. You're not going to the used car lot to rip off the car dealer. You just want to get the best deal possible. And we have two parties negotiating and doing the best they can. You end up with two people who profit and do well because of a trade. But for too long, America's gone with the idea that we're going to pay double what everyone else is asking. If the sticker price says $7,000, oh, we'll pay $14,000. And it's just a dumb way to do things.
Well, the first rule of life and the first rule of business is never listen to anyone who's never done anything. People actually have to look at who they're voting for, look at what they've done, and look at their record. Okay, the second thing is you have to look at character and honesty. Competency. President Trump has brought confidence back to this country. Everybody's out here grabbing a cup of the win, and we're not done winning. We're just getting started.
And that's the one thing I have to say. I vehemently disagreed with him when he said on the campaign trail that we're going to win so much we'd eventually get tired of winning. I'm not going to get tired of winning. Are you?
I am not tired at all. We're just getting ready, and then we've got Trump 2020, but 2024, wait, there's more. We're not done. We're just getting started.
Well, and it is. I mean, he was being funny when he said we're going to win so much we'll get tired of it. But I don't know. I'm trying to think of the day. I think if we were winning for 100 years, I don't think I'd get tired of it. I think winning is pretty good.
This man has done a marvelous job. Great family, great support system. But this is what this country was founded on: a man or a woman making the call. He makes the call. There is no hidden agenda from him. You know where he's coming. You know where he's going. If you don't like it, give your side of the story, but don't just sit there and go, stomp your feet.
Yeah, he is the most transparent politician ever. He basically tells you exactly what he's thinking and exactly what he wants to do. And some people don't like that. I mean, there are people who don't like his Twitter account and don't like this and that. But my attitude is, at least with this guy, you know what he's thinking about, you know what he wants to do, and he's not hiding the ball from you.
Absolutely not. Us truck drivers, us masons, us block guys, iron workers, guys in the steel plant, girls in the office running everything, dispatchers, we've had enough. We have to get up and go to work at 5 in the morning so everybody's ready to go to work at 7 to make this country successful. That's what a boss does, a leader does, and President Trump is that guy. Everybody's up with pride. It's a great thing.
Yeah, it has been interesting to watch. What would you say to those, because I hear occasionally a liberal say, oh, but around the world, America's laughed at. And I kind of scratch my head and say, I don't think that's true. I've traveled abroad periodically, and I don't think that's the case. And I saw a study that was done recently that said that liberals tend to be proud of America when they're guys in the White House, and they're not proud of America. Now, interestingly enough, I'm always proud of America. I may not like the president. When Obama was the president, I wasn't happy with the job he was doing, but I still was proud of America. And I believed in America because I believe in our system, I believe in our people, I think our Constitution is second to none, and so forth. I don't know, what do you think of all that?
I think that the president is doing a great job, and I'm a red, white, blue American. I get up and I go to work, and I'm proud of it. And I'm not a millionaire, I'm a thousandaire, just like most of us out here. All right, this guy is a great leader. The Democrats, they stomp their feet. They want to ride their pink unicorn. They want to get rid of fracking. They want to get rid of oil. They want to have solar, wind, geothermal. They want to take away the weapons. They want to open up the borders. Well, who the hell's going to do the work? Because I'm telling you right now, we're going to stop if that happens. Okay, and these kids today, they better learn what it's like to pick up a shovel, pick up a rake, or pick up a hammer, or pick up a rifle.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. It is easy to take freedom and opportunity for granted and to slowly just kind of think of it as something that's yours all the time. But you're right. It's something we have to work for as Americans. The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. And that's the thing that America's great about, is that it gives us that opportunity. It doesn't promise us success. It doesn't promise us happiness, but it lets us pursue happiness. We have the right to pursue happiness.
That is correct. It's, the children today, when I say children, I'm talking to kids, they're late teens, early 20s. I'm seeing a resurgence of kids going back to work, going to trade school, being proud, studying, being a truck driver, being a plumber, being an electrician. Yeah. Man, it's okay. It's a good life. You got a good, clean life. You go to it and you do the best you can, and you can provide a good living. Yeah. And everybody can't type on a keyboard. Okay, you got a lot of keyboard tough guys. We're not that. We're hammer swingers. We love it.
That's great. Well, our time's about up, but how can people follow the work that you do at We Build the Wall?
You can go to webuildthewall.us. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're all over the internet. You can follow our hero, my personal hero, Brian Colfage, our founder. He's on Twitter. He's on Facebook. He's all over the place. But go to We Build the Wall and donate today. We got a lot more miles. We got a lot more farmers and ranchers that want to help out the nation by putting up wall in their property. And to our donors and our support system out there, the Red, White, Blue Patriots, thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Mike Fury. It's been great to have you on the show. This is the Conservative Commandos. We're here at CPAC. It's a madhouse, but we will be back with more high-quality, informative, and interesting interviews. Don't go away.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply, and mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline Refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here! Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution. Because debt sucks!
The AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94.
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
Welcome again to CPAC 2020. I have a very special person here that wants to share a message again to families in America here at CPAC. His name is Mark Ludwig. Share with the viewers and listeners definitely need to hear this.
Thanks so much. I appreciate the chance to get some exposure.
Good.
I started a group called Americans for Equal Shared Parenting, basically trying to get kids equal time with both parents after divorce or separation. Right now, nationwide, 83% of the cases, one parent becomes the custodial parent, one's the non-custodial. And, I can understand because years ago, back when I was a kid, my dad was a chemical engineer, my mom was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
And so back then, the woman was more of the nurturer, and still is to a degree today. But nowadays, so many parents are realizing that fathers need to be involved in the raising of a child, too. And our group, though, will fight just as hard for a woman as a man. Because I'm not fighting for women or men, I'm fighting for the kids.
Right.
Kids have two traumas they're dealing with. Trauma number one, mom and dad aren't together. Now, they don't know how to explain their confusion, but it gets bottled up inside because the two people they love the most aren't together and they don't understand why. Then they have the secondary trauma of one parent becomes basically the superior parent and one's the inferior parent. And they love them both the same, but why do I only get to see one parent? And they almost get not necessarily a resentment for the one parent, but there's just a confusion that builds up. And a lot of it is fostered by the court systems. I've got hundreds of thousands of followers on Facebook in the shared parenting community, and I hear from people every day that make the statement, Mark, I didn't hate my ex near as much until I went to my first family law attorney.
Wow.
And the attorney said, hey, in our state, you're not going to get equal shared parenting. One of you is going to win and one of you is going to lose. So I need you as a client to tell me why you're the better parent and why they're a bad parent. So here you have a couple at the most vulnerable point of their relationship, where they're ending that stage of their life. We hope it doesn't happen, but it does, we know.
Sure.
And so here they need to figure out how do they facilitate the movement from that stage of their life to a co-parenting stage. And now they're getting riled up by an attorney to think of why they're a better parent.
Sure.
There should never be a better parent. I disagree very much with a lot of things my son's mom does.
Sure.
But it doesn't matter. In his eyes, that's his mom. That's his hero.
Yeah.
And every child, I don't care if you take a child whose parent is in prison, that's still their hero.
Sure.
And so every child needs to have, I believe that God created it. It took two parents to make a child.
Right.
And so it takes two parents to raise a child.
Right.
So there is no better parent. Each parent adds a value to the child's life that the other can't do by themselves.
Yeah. Well, don't you think, Mark, that it's part of the process of healing that needs to take place, not for the whole family, especially for the kids?
Well, that's it. If instead they could walk into that same attorney's office and the attorney would say, look, in our state, you're probably going to share parenting, so you need to learn how to get along instead of fostering that fighting relationship to rack up billable hours for the attorney. I just have to imagine most parents would say, you know what, let's put those attorney fees in a college fund and figure out how to work together. Because like I said, those, if you look at all the statistics of kids that grow up without one of their parents, violent crime rates, incarceration rates, high school dropout rates, 70 to 94% of those are tied up to growing up without one of the parents.
Wow.
And yes, there's some parents who, for whatever reason, are either unfit, unwilling, or unable. But you don't penalize the children who have good parents. If someone has a DWI, you don't take away everyone's driver's license. You're presumed to be a fit driver unless proven otherwise.
Right.
From the child's perspective, both of those parents should be presumed fit unless proven otherwise.
Right.
And so all our bills, I've got bills in 29 states this year with teams that I'm working on.
Wow.
And all of the bills are what we call rebuttable presumptions. So it's not a rubber stamp that every case has to be 50-50.
Sure.
But what it says is the judge should start each case, presume that it's 50-50. The rebuttable means they still have discretion to determine, is there something going on that we need to look at? But imagine if we could clear out 80% of the cases out of the family law courtrooms.
Wow.
And now we can focus on the ones that really need the work.
Sure, right. Do you find out that the kids that you were dealing with, that they have a voice in this as well and they want this?
Well, it's interesting you said that. Dr. Bill Fabricius did a study. The closest bill in the country that does this right now is a 2012 bill in Arizona.
Wow.
That it's not as strong, but it led the direction for the courts in Arizona that we wanted as close to 50-50 as possible.
Okay.
And he did a 6-year study of children growing up in equal shared parenting homes.
Right.
And it's interesting, and I think there was like 6,000, so it wasn't like a 200 sample. It was a 6,000 sample, I believe.
Sure.
And it was an amazing correlation. Not just did they do better if they had equal shared parenting, but a direct correlation. The closer they had to equal shared parenting, the better the children did in, I believe it was 6 different areas where they studied their emotional, their psychological, their scholastic development. And in every one of those areas, the closer they got to a 50-50, the better they fared on that score.
Wow. It's interesting that you're here in a political event. But yet, what's been the response for you even being here talking about this? I think it's amazing.
Yeah, on the it should be a bipartisan issue. In the short term, we get a lot more reception from Republicans.
Wow.
Because it's more of a family values type of an issue.
Sure.
That obviously conservatives like the family to stay intact, but if it's not going to, the child's family needs to stay intact. Now we are starting to get a little bit of reception on the other side of the aisle.
Right.
And we need to, because this is I've been around the political arena for 30 years.
Wow.
It's the only issue I've ever seen that crosses party lines, crosses gender lines, crosses racial lines, socioeconomic lines, because everybody has kids.
That's right.
So it affects everyone, and everyone knows the love they have for their parents. I think of myself. There's 21 million parents that will go to bed tonight without their biological child in the house.
Right.
And as a parent, to drive by the school bus stop in the morning, and realize you haven't seen your kid in weeks, at Halloween and Christmas and missing all those. But more importantly, think from the child's perspective.
Exactly.
Think of that child waking up every morning thinking, I want time with my dad, and I haven't seen him in weeks.
Sure.
And if they do the job right, because I never tell my son, because what I don't want to do is create stress in my son's life of he feels like I want more time and your mom's not giving it to me. So if a parent is doing their job right, they don't tell the child what's going on.
Sure.
The challenge is now the child wonders, does dad not want me?
Right.
So you run a tightrope of conveying that you love your child without putting the other parent down.
Right.
Because like I said, as much as I disagree with things my son's mother has done to keep me out of his life, I never want to, because that is not a victory for me.
No.
If my son's emotional well-being is harmed, that does not help me out at all.
Yeah, well, it's no victory for anybody in the family.
Yeah.
But do you believe that it's leaving at times a mark that can never be erased?
Yeah, without a doubt. Dr. Craig Childress, who is one of the leading authorities on parental alienation across the country, has done studies talking about the fact that parental alienation is as bad or worse than sexual abuse with kids, because that emotional pull of feeling tugged between parents never goes away. They remember that for the rest of their lives.
Right. Do you also believe it could be even confusion for their identity, and even for them growing up in the future, even crossing the aisles into other areas of even gender issues going on with
absolutely.
this?
Oh, absolutely. The confusion of, like I said, not having inputs from both genders of their parents.
Absolutely, on that. Have you been writing anything on this, or it's just been all through communication and, town halls? Wouldn't that be great to be doing something like that with this?
Yeah, well, I'm currently on a 40-city tour going around the country.
Excellent.
We do have a Facebook page called Americans for Equal Shared Parenting that people can get more information.
Okay, exactly. How can people get a hold of
thanks
you
for
with
asking.
that? Yes.
Facebook page, Americans for Equal Shared Parenting, and then a website, the abbreviation, AFESP.com. AFESP.com.
Okay. And let me ask you we have just a few seconds back. If you had to talk to a parent today that was dealing with it, what words would you leave them with?
The most important thing is to understand it's not about the parents, it's about the kids.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you hate the other parent, too bad.
Right.
If you split up, you need to put your personal differences aside and focus on that child.
All right. Thank you so much for being here with us at CPAC and having the voice and the courage to do this. Every single human being that is involved with family needs to have this. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare.
Call 800-209-5173.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day and injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call now and learn how to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
And welcome back to CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference in Washington, D.C. This is a very special edition of the Conservative Commandos radio show, and I have a very special guest joining me, Tracy Beanz. She is the creator of Uncover D.C., and Tracy, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio Show.
I'm glad to be here. I always have so much fun talking to you. I just said we could sit here for hours. How are we going to end?
Well, Tracy, and that's because I love your content and what you do at Uncover DC.
Thank you.
And I can remember interviews that we've done with you from the studio, how well prepared you were for the interviews and how well you knew the facts
Thank
of
you.
whatever you were talking about. And I think that, for me, as a show host, that is just so impressive.
You stumped me a couple times on a few. You did on 2 different topics. I remember it was one with I was performing some sort of financial audit on the Epstein connections, and you had it all. You were like, "What about this? What about this?" I'm like, "Ooh, there's a new one for me." So you gave me some work.
Well, when I have a guest on like you, I just don't. Other than CPAC, when we don't have time to really prepare to talk with a guest,
Right.
I like to find out what's important to my guest, what you're talking about, what your interests are, what your feelings are, and also the issue in and of itself.
You're great.
Because I think that adds to great conversation.
Yeah.
We're here to help our listeners gather that information that they need to be informed.
Yeah.
So then when they talk to their friends and their neighbors about issues or even politics or candidates or Donald Trump or whatever it is, they're well informed. They have the ammunition to use.
Yeah, no, you're fantastic, and I always love coming on. So it's great when you can go back and forth with someone who really knows what they're talking about. It's excellent. So thank you for that. That's amazing.
You're quite well. So what are you working on now?
Well, I've really been focusing a lot on the General Flynn case. It's a story that I've followed from the very beginning.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm very good friends with the Flynn family now after interviewing Joe several times. I had Mike Jr. on my podcast the other day. He's also written some op-eds for us, which has been really nice to give him a voice again after having to be quiet for so long. That case is just a travesty, in my opinion. What they're doing to General Flynn is horrible. But Sidney Powell is a bulldog.
She is.
She's fantastic.
She's a terrific lady.
Yes, she is.
She's been a guest here many times too, and she is. And I can't think of anyone better to be on General Flynn's side than Sidney Powell.
No, and she doesn't quit. I mean, if you read any of the filings, she provides them for everybody so that they can read them, because it's so important you poke into those documents. There's so much in there that you don't normally see reported on. The transcripts of the hearings that become available shortly thereafter, you pick up little tidbits in there that you wouldn't normally hear anywhere else, and Sidney provides that for everyone. So.
Well, let's talk about Uncover DC and what you do. I know you do the podcast, and I'm not going to say again how well informed you are on the issues.
Thank you.
But tell our audience about Uncover DC and give me the who, what, where, when, how, why of it. Why did you start it, and what do you do, and what are your goals and your missions?
Thanks for this opportunity. That's cool. I've been an activist for almost 20 years, believe it or not, and I started covering the WikiLeaks releases because I had all this background information that many people didn't have, and so then people wanted it in video form, so I started doing it on YouTube. And as that grew and I started looking around the landscape, and there weren't very many media organizations that people really trusted at all, and even some on what you would consider conservative-leaning outlets. There was a lot of clickbait. It was a lot of advertising in your face. It was a lot of just things that, if as a consumer of information, I didn't want to see. And I'm like, you know what? Why not do it yourself? Who does it better than you? You know how to do it right. You could.
Well, that's why I started a radio show and now a television network.
Yeah, I mean, you're a good example of that if I've ever seen one. Yeah, so I decided I was just going to start my own media outlet, and I did, and here we are today. So it's really. We have some commentary on there, but it's investigative journalism, like real investigative journalism, and you're not going to come to the site and be blasted with tons of advertising, breaking up your articles and distracting you. And I just want to bring integrity back to this business, and I'm hoping to be successful in that, and I don't think I'll ever stop, so off we go.
Well, I love the name Uncover DC, because I think there's a lot of things that need to be uncovered in DC.
There's not enough time. There's not enough time. Yeah, it's. I'm hoping, as we grow and get more support, we can do different divisions. So it'd be like Uncover Europe, Uncover Canada, Uncover, even in states if we can, and bring news local again too, because we're on a national level, but I don't know what you experience in your local area, but in my local area, local news is basically gone.
Well, living in the People's Republic of New Jersey, it's amazing what is going on in states like New Jersey and in California and actually in culture today. California Governor Newsom has now stopped all physical education programs because it's biased now. And Phil Murphy, the governor of New Jersey, believes that California is the model for everything and everybody. So it's when you get to local things, it's very frustrating when you live in a very liberal state like New Jersey.
What's going to happen when they turn red this year?
Please bring it on, and let's find out.
Yes.
Please bring it on, and let's find
Because
out.
I'm from New York originally. I don't know if you know that. I'm in South Carolina now, but I grew up in New York, and it's weird because I'm from Long Island, right? You know the area, I'm sure, being from Jersey. Long Island is very conservative, especially in Suffolk County on the eastern end of the island. And then if you go into Manhattan and the 5 boroughs, Staten Island is super conservative. It went to Trump in 2016. So it's like this mishmash of uber liberal, high population, centers, which elect most of the most of the state level represent the governor, for example. And then you're stuck out in like La La Land where you're looking around like none of this stuff is what I want. So then you leave and you end up in South Carolina. But honestly, it's hard. It's hard because we helped back in the day. My friend Gigi, who's here with me today, works with Uncover DC. We helped to elect Lee Zeldin. We had him in living rooms all over Suffolk County, New York. And he got elected and he's kept his seat. And he's so down to earth and wonderful. So there are these little diamonds in the rough. But we really need to focus on local stuff. It makes such a difference.
Yeah. Well, I was just having this conversation with Congressman Jody Hayes this morning about the old expression that all politics is local, and that's true. And that we can't ignore the local politics or the local politicians because that's actually the minor leagues for the major leagues of federal government.
Yeah.
And that it's where people start to run for a school board,
right,
for local council, and then they run for a county office, and then maybe a state office, and then maybe a federal office. So we really, really have to not lose sight of that.
Not only that, but it's where the progressive agenda is focusing its energy, time, and money. So if you take a look at Virginia, for example, or even Texas, George Soros is funding DAs, decriminalizing everything. Like, look at what happened in Manhattan right now with what they're doing there. They're letting people out with no bail, and they're recommitting crimes 2 minutes later. So they're trying to destabilize via local seats, local races. And, school board is one of the most important positions in your community.
Absolutely. Amazing you say that. And let me give you this example. We have this gentleman running for president, Pete Buttigieg. They don't call him Pete Buttigieg, they call him Mayor Pete.
Yes.
So you have to assume that he's running for president because he's the mayor of a city, and he is a small, failed Midwestern city. During his last election, do you know how many votes Pete Buttigieg got to win?
No, how many? The same as AOC?
8,000.
Wow.
515. He got 8,515 votes. And that qualifies him to run for president. Okay. Now, a friend of mine, and maybe you know him too, Joe Messina, the real side Joe Messina. Joe is on his school board. Okay. In Joe's last election, Joe got over 13,000 votes.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes Joe twice as qualified to be president than Pete Buttigieg. But it's there you go. And the budget that Joe's school district has is bigger than the budget of South Bend, Indiana, where Pete Buttigieg was mayor, or is mayor. So I just find that interesting because when we're talking about local politics, here's local politics at the grassroots level, school board. More people voting, bigger budgets than the guy that's running for president.
Yeah, and the same thing happened in AOC's district, believe it or not. I think it was 80,000 votes or something that she won with. Maybe it was 100,000.
Well, then I guess she's 10 times more qualified to run for president.
Don't say that out loud. You'll speak it into existence, and we'll have a big problem.
Okay.
But she look what she's done nationally. You know, if those folks in the local, because she had a money behind her and she was an actress, and they put her out there and they did it. So local's important.
Very important. Tracy Beanz, Uncover DC. Hey, how do you uncover DC from South Carolina?
Oh, you do it really easily. You have people like hiding down here in the swamp that talk to you. You travel here a lot, and a lot of the stuff that I find, believe it or not, a good majority of it is open source. It's just knowing where to look and putting the dots together.
It's also the great day. It's great that we live in the age of the internet.
Yes.
Where research is so easy and you can find so much on the internet. And it's done another thing. Without the internet, there wouldn't be things like the Conservative Commandos radio show or the American Uncensored News Network. We live in an information age, truly. And you can absolutely investigate anything that's anywhere today right from your easy chair.
Yeah, you don't have to go to the Library of Congress. You can look at the CIA reading room right online and see all the declassified documents in the vault.
Tracy Beanz, tell our listeners how they can tune into Uncover DC.
Sure.
Get all this scoop.
Thank you so much. You can find us at uncoverdc.com, or you can find us on Twitter at UncoverDC. We're on Facebook. We have a page in a group, Uncover DC. Surprise. And you can find me on Twitter at Tracy Beanz with a Z at the end.
Tracy Beanz, great to see you. That's what I love about coming to CPAC. It's a lot of work, but I get to meet people and make friends and see friends from CPACs 10 and 12 years ago.
Yeah, I know. You get to hug people, say hello, and it is a lot of work. He's not kidding. It really is. To do this from here, it's a lot of work. It's hard.
Tracy Beanz is great.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
Take care. God bless.
God bless.
And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. Don't go away. We'll be right back right after this.
A veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear! The debt suckers are here! Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution. Because debt sucks!
The AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94.
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landrith, and we are here at CPAC. We're still here at CPAC, and you may hear some laughter and noise in the background. Don't let that bother you. We're not in a quiet studio. We'll talk loud and hopefully over the noise that's here, but we have been having a great time here. Lots of great guests, and this truly is the Super Bowl of conservatism. And I am very glad to have with me Marianne Mendoza. She is the founder, president? Co-founder of Angel Families. That suggests to you that these are families that have made an extra sacrifice, and one that we should all honor. So with that, welcome to the Conservative Commandos, Marianne.
Thank you very much.
Tell us a little bit about Angel Families and what it is your purpose is.
AngelFamilies.org is an organic movement that I pulled together to bring angel families together. We are Americans who have been affected by illegal alien crime. And, we understand each other's pain, whether your loved one has been murdered, killed, raped, assaulted, identity theft. I mean, the crime range is huge of what happens to Americans at the hands of illegal aliens. So Meshell Root, whose daughter Sarah Root was killed in Omaha, Nebraska, and myself, my son Brandon Mendoza, was a sergeant with the Mesa, Arizona Police Department, was killed on May 12, 2014. A repeat illegal criminal, 3 times the legal limit drunk, high on meth, had driven over 35 miles the wrong way and slammed head-on into my son going 104 miles an hour. So we decided that we needed to bring, President Trump gave us a platform in 2016 during his campaign, brought our stories to light, and we are just furthering that cause and making sure our fellow Americans are aware of us.
One of the things that I think sometimes people get nervous about when we have this conversation, and I think we have to be able to have this conversation, is they say, but aren't you saying that all immigrants are bad, and I think that's not the message. But when you're an illegal immigrant, some of them may just be here for opportunity, but some aren't here for that, and that's the problem. And I kind of view immigration as a national security issue, which is if you can sneak in for, to get a better job to support your family because you're from a terrible part of the world where there's no economic opportunity, you can also sneak into America to sell drugs and promote terrorism and other things. So it seems to me that we have to figure this problem out, and the president was right, and yet I think the other side tries to get us to stop talking about the problem. They'll say things like, you can't lump them all together, they're not all bad. And I didn't hear you say they were all bad, but yet that's the way they jump to.
Right. It's an illegal alien criminal element that Angel Families fights against. We have over 900,000 convicted felon illegal criminals roaming our streets that have deportation orders that they have not gotten out of our country at this point. But bottom line is, until we have a secure border, and in Arizona where I live, over 320 miles is 4 strands of barbed wire. Until we have a secure border, we cannot keep those criminals out of our country once they've been deported. There's hundreds of stories of previously deported criminals who have come back within a week and committed more crimes. And unfortunately, mainstream media doesn't cover that. I try and get it out on my Twitter account. It's MA Mendoza 480, and I put a lot of these obscure stories out there because Americans deserve to know the amount of crime these illegals are committing in our country. And we do not have proper vetting at our border. And the DACA program is a perfect example. Over a third of the DACA participants are criminals, and they were supposed to have been vetted before they were allowed into that program. So there's a perfect example of how we, as a country, are unable to determine who's bad or who's good.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I think most Americans don't mind the idea of people emigrating to the United States because all of us in our background had families, a grandfather, a great-grandfather, a grandmother, whatever, that was an immigrant. What we want is to make sure that they're coming to America for the right reason. And the only way you can be sure of that is to have a process that vets them and that excludes everyone who has not been vetted and only permits people in that we've determined are coming for a good reason. And that shouldn't be controversial, but yet it really is. And I feel like the left tries to shut people up. And I bet you they look at you sometimes and say, we need to shut that woman up. Don't let her speak. And I don't really understand that because this is a serious problem. And they'll also try to use labels like hate speech and all this other stuff. And I haven't heard you say a single thing that's hateful. And yet that's the way they approach it.
Well, number one, illegal aliens are not a race. They're people from all over this world who are in our country illegally. I don't care where you've come from, what color your skin is. We're called racist a lot. But we've got to start taking care of Americans first. And this isn't what's happening in this country. We've got Democratic politicians who are fighting for open borders and illegal aliens to be able to come into our country freely. And this isn't something that we can keep allowing because everybody who's listening to this is a victim of illegal immigration. Because as an American taxpayer, you are paying in 2019 over $163 billion to support these illegal aliens who are in our country. And also, only 6% of the people who come across our border qualify for asylum. And 94% of them do not. And the MPP program was just overturned in the Ninth Circuit Court this afternoon, which means they want these 94% who don't qualify for asylum to come into our country, and we support them. They are scheduling immigration court hearings for 2023, folks, which means for 3 years we'll be supporting these 94% of the people who don't qualify for asylum. And on top of that, 97% of the 94% don't show up for their court hearings when they come around. And so they've just become another burden to American taxpayers.
Yeah, that is an interesting point because in 1870, I don't know that we had rigorous enforcement of our immigration laws, but we also didn't give you anything. If you came to America, you got one thing and one thing only. That was opportunity. You didn't get a ham sandwich. You didn't get a plug nickel. Nothing. And so you attracted different kinds of people. When you have a welfare state that provides housing assistance and groceries and food and all these other things, free medical care, and you're coming from a third world country, and that may not necessarily appeal to you. You and I wouldn't necessarily line up to live in public housing or to live on food stamps. I understand. But if you're coming from a third world country that's impoverished and is kind of, quite frankly, a horrible place to live, being poor in America is being rich. And so we actually do have, I think, a real problem that we have to kind of get a hold of, which is you can't have a welfare state and open borders. It simply does not work.
And, every state in our nation is a border state now. And people still argue with me about that. No, they don't have problems in different states. If we don't have an illegal alien problem, then why is New Jersey and why is New York and why is Washington State and why is Oregon, why are they sanctuary states? There's no reason for a sanctuary policy to be in effect if they aren't trying to protect illegal aliens. It is not put in place to protect the immigrant community. Sanctuary policies are put in place to protect illegal alien communities.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It is interesting that this debate, like I said, I think sometimes the left, their strongest point and their most their biggest goal is to shut down debates they don't want to have. I think this is a debate they know they'll lose if we have it, so they really don't want you talking, so they try to shut you up. But if you were to tell people, kind of give them a list of things they should do, what would you say? What would be the important things that need to happen and that need to be done?
Be aware of what's happening in state legislation in your states. I'm going to be testifying Monday when I get back to Arizona for an anti-sanctuary bill there. Georgia's coming up with an anti-sanctuary bill. Be aware of what your politicians are doing on a local level. Know that in many cities and municipalities that the mayor and the city council, they're the ones who tell the police departments to be a sanctuary police department. They're the ones who enact those sanctuary policies. Educate yourself. Know what's happening in your communities, and when you get to the voting booth in November, vote the people in that are going to have Americans be top priority. We've got enough homeless veterans and homeless Americans and homeless and hungry American children who deserve all this free stuff that's given to people who don't belong in our country. There's a front door, and that's the door that they need to come through.
Fair enough. How can folks follow the work? You gave the website earlier and stuff, but tell us all the different ways folks can follow the things that you're doing, Marianne.
Angelfamilies.org is our website. We're actually revamping it. It'll be ready next week. I mean, it's up and running now, but we're doing a whole new format on it. You can go there and donate. It takes money to keep me on the road, to keep fighting and testifying in these different states against sanctuary policies. My Twitter handle is MA Mendoza 480. I also have a Twitter account, Angel Families, and I've got Facebook page, Angel Families United. We're all over the place. Look us up, follow us. I put all these obscure stories of illegal alien crime on my Twitter account and feed it into Angel Families because that's where you're going to get the real news, folks.
Very good. Well, thank you, Marianne Mendoza. That was awesome. It's great to be with you. We appreciate you taking the time to stop by here at CPAC. We're the Conservative Commandos. We are here at CPAC. Don't go away. We will be right back.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty?
We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here!
Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks!
The AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94.
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
CPAC 2020, and it's our pleasure to have two wonderful guests who actually are engaged to be married. Cabot Phillips, Editor-in-Chief of the Leadership Institute's Campus Reform Organization, and please introduce your bride-to-be.
So this is Emma Meshell, and she is the spokeswoman for the Young Americans for Liberty, doing great work on college campuses around the country.
Wow, now those are two neat organizations and something we really need. I'm just thinking President Trump had an executive order recently that supports what you're trying to do. And I'm sure he supports the Leadership Institute 100%. Talk about what you do, though, because our people are very interested.
Yeah, and you bring up that executive order. I was there in the room when President Trump signed that. It was a wonderful day, and he had 8 college students up on stage with him when he signed that executive order. It was all students that had their free speech rights taken away from them on campus because of their conservative beliefs. 6 of those 8 students were affiliated with us at Campus Reform, so we really are leading the charge on the free speech movement movement on campus. And so what we do, we're essentially a conservative watchdog. We're an online publication that covers liberal bias on college campuses. So we've published over 1,400 articles last year detailing the free speech suppression going on campus, detailing the institutional bias in the classroom, and showing just how one-sided the campus discussion has become. We're trying to shine a light on that. We believe light is the best disinfectant. And so we're trying to make sure people are aware of what's going on in the university system.
Well, I'm going to age myself, but in 1982, as a senior at Northwestern University, we did a poll of 36 social science professors. They all had voted for Jimmy Carter. Yeah. And so we said, this has got to change. We started a concerted campus newspaper. We gave it the name Northwestern Review. And at that time, there were just a few concerted campus, the Harvard Salient, the Dartmouth Review, just a few. But in that tradition, you are illuminating what's going on, and this is our tax dollars at work. You have a lot of liberal professors. Please speak about that.
So there's a recent study that came out. National Association of Scholars looked at over 30 states, 12,000 professors, and they looked at their political donation history. Of those 12,000 professors, 22 had donated to Republican candidates in the last 5 years out of 12,000. It was a 95-to-1 ratio of professors donating to Democrats versus Republicans. Now, there's nothing wrong with a professor having their own personal opinion, but when it's so one-sided, 95-to-1, that's not intellectual diversity. That's going to come out in the classroom. And so we're trying to show just how biased the classroom has become, and it is a problem when people are more intent on indoctrinating, telling people what to think, and not educating, telling them how to think.
Let's talk with Emma for a second, and tell us about your organization.
Yes, so Young Americans for Liberty is a youth grassroots organization, and essentially what we do, we get students involved in learning about the principles of liberty on college campuses. So we've actually had Campus Reform cover quite a few stories of our students trying to raise awareness for free speech, trying to speak out on the issues that matter to them, and being sentenced to these little free speech zones. A lot of times they're the size of a parking space on a massive campus. So we work in tandem with a lot of groups like Campus Reform. We also actually endorse candidates for state representative races. So we're taking these students, and when we have an endorsement, we will deploy them and mobilize them to actually knock doors and get solid liberty-minded folks elected to state office. So a little bit on campus, a little bit out in the field, but all in all, we're out here fighting for liberty in just about every way we can.
You know, that's awesome. It sounds like you identify the symptoms of political correctness, and you actually try to cure the disease. So that is pretty cool. Give us a little more about your group, and who are these campus leaders that you're working with, because I think you've got a network at Leadership Institute.
Yeah, so we have over 110 student reporters on campus, so they are the eyes and ears on the ground. So they're on campuses around the country. It's not just the Ivy Leagues, it's student reporters around the country. We even have students writing for us that are nursing majors, engineering majors, but they just want to expose what's going on. And so those students are sending in the stories, we're publishing them, and the main goal is to make professors think twice before they use their platform to indoctrinate. We've had professors say everything from, President Trump is, responsible for more death than Joseph Stalin, and people saying that, all sorts of things about conservatives and how evil Republicans are. And we want to expose those things and make professors realize that, hey, we're going to share your message outside of the classroom so that people can see where their tax dollars are going. And so another thing that we do is we help empower students that have had their free speech rights taken away. And so universities, if they deny, say there's a conservative speaker coming to campus, and the university steps in and says, this speaker is too controversial, we don't like these conservative opinions, they're not allowed on campus, we're going to cover that, and we're going to expose how the university is censoring speech. And then the university, they start getting calls from concerned people in the community. That's the last thing they want, is alums calling saying, I'm not going to donate any more to you, or members of the community saying, I'm paying for you with our tax dollars, what are you doing? And that's when universities start to change, is when they realize, wait a second, people are paying attention, we're not operating in darkness anymore. And that's what we're trying to do with students on campus, to help empower them and let them know that people actually have their back.
Now, do the students, are they made aware of what you're publishing? Are you getting large amounts of social media coverage through you? Back to those students?
Absolutely. And so you mentioned student publications earlier. One thing that we do is we help student publications grow. So we will republish them. So we'll make sure they get all the credit for the work that they're doing. We'll help amplify them. And to help them grow, we'll help give them resources. We offer training to students, so journalism training. We're trying to grow the next generation of good sound journalists on the conservative movement. So we'll offer free trainings to student journalists so they can get their start in the movement. And so that certainly is what we're concerned with, is giving the students the platform and not taking the attention for ourselves.
How about some examples of the work you've been doing? Case in point, name the university if you can, and what took place and how you guys were able to expose it.
Yeah, so I'll give you some examples of victories. We quantify victory as anything where the university does something crazy, we cover it, and the university is forced to change because of our coverage. So recently at University of Virginia, for example, on Veterans Day, they had canceled the 21-gun salute because they said it could be triggering for students, and the violent imagery of guns going off for the 21-gun salute would be hurtful for students. So we covered that, pointing out how ridiculous and absurd this PC overreach is. And the university the next day ended up coming back and saying, you know what, never mind, we're going to bring this back. Another student government up in Michigan, they had removed the Pledge of Allegiance from the university student government meetings, saying we're not going to do this because some people might not be Americans. This might be offensive to some people to hear the Pledge of Allegiance. It's an exclusionary thing. We covered that. People started calling, saying, what in the world is your student government doing? The next day they said, we're reinstituting the Pledge of Allegiance. Other examples like that are something that we see as powerful, where the university starts to feel pressure to change, and that's what the ultimate goal is.
How about you, Emma? Some samples of the kind of work you're doing.
Yeah, so just the other day, a few weeks ago, we had the Department of Justice actually weighed in on a lawsuit that we filed at the Jones County Junior College in Mississippi. Very similar. Campus reform actually helped us get some coverage for this, but essentially a student was out with a giant beach ball, and it said free speech ball, write whatever you want on it. And the administration did not happen to like that. They came up and they told him he needed to go to a free speech zone. He said, no, I'm an American, I don't need to do that. And they actually detained him and locked him up in a little mini college jail cell. So it was insane.
They locked up the student and he had a free speech written on the beach ball.
Yeah, exactly. So it was absurd. We thought it was absurd, so we filed a lawsuit. And this is something that's been going on in court for a while now, for a few months. But the Department of Justice weighed in and said that it was beyond Orwellian, that colleges shouldn't be mini police states. So this was something that we saw as a huge victory. The case is still ongoing, so hopefully we get the school to have to pay us some attorney's fees and all that good stuff. But I mean, the ways that these schools are constantly trying to trample on the rights of the students is remarkable. It's never going to stop unless we start speaking out about it. So that's what we're trying to do at Young Americans for Liberty. I appreciate the work that Campus Reform does for that. And until people start pushing back on this in the courtroom and on campus and in the media, it's only going to keep continuing.
Now, are there some offshoots? This is a political election year, 2020. Are the students signing up to get more of your information, registering to vote? Are there some good vibes, so to speak?
Yeah.
You guys got that covered.
So we're actually getting involved. Young Americans for Liberty, Inc. We have a 501c4 operation that gets involved in some more political stuff.
Yeah. C4, you can actually help and endorse candidates.
That is precisely what we do. We're doing 150 endorsements this year in 2020 alone for state representative races. So what we're trying to do is, on a state level, get people elected that are going to pass campus carry and that are going to pass campus free speech bills, like Savannah Maddox, who is one of our first people that we ever endorsed. She just passed those two sets of legislation in Kentucky. She's remarkable, and our goal here is to have these people eventually ascend to higher office so that we have more solid people in Congress, and essentially building up that bench of really solid, principled legislators from the state level all the way to federal.
And so one thing that we're doing on campus with students with our work with the Leadership Institute. So Leadership Institute's our parent organization. They help conservative students, get involved in activism on campus. So they're offering training, and say a conservative student comes to campus and they say, I want to find a group. We have an entire, database of conservative groups on each campus, so they know how to get plugged in. They know, how to get the training necessary to grow their group on campus. And so that's what Leadership Institute is doing there as well. And at Campus Reform, another element of what we're doing is the training element. I think it's important for us to, if we complain about the media, if we complain about people in journalism, it's important for us to actually help, fill that vacuum and train up the next generation. So we do on-camera training, we do public speech training, we do debate training, we do, training in writing and reporting and reaching out for comments and a FOIA request. All those things we're teaching the next generation how to do so we can have good conservative journalists filling up the bench moving forward.
You're a college in and of yourself, a conservative college. You're a Hillsdale. Yeah, it's tremendous. We got to wrap up, but so both of you, please let our viewership know how they can support you and get in contact.
So we're at campusreform.org, and it doesn't have to just be students. We have a program, investigator program. If you're an adult in your community that's not on campus anymore, we have a program for investigators to help us find stories from your local community, from universities, to expose what's going on. And I'm Cabot_Phillips on social media as well.
Yes, and for us, our website is yaliberty.org, and there are so many ways you can get involved. You can refer students to get involved with us on campus. You can contribute to help fund what we're working on, or you can even refer candidates that are running for state office to take our survey and potentially get an endorsement from us, which can be a huge deal when that race gets down to the wire. So many, many ways to get involved, yaliberty.org.
Well, this is Cabot and Emma, engaged to be married, but engaging our culture, engaging the young people on the college campuses. God bless you both. Thank you for being on Commando's radio show.
Yes.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare.
Call 800-209-5173.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call now.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. Not only can a CGM immediately reduce pain, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. We'll also provide free shipping of your new CGM, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 4 more times per day and injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call now and learn how to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. And of course, we're also on AUN TV in Northern California. That's San Francisco, Sacramento, Redding, wine country. And we've come across the Sierras now to Nevada, Carson City, Lake Tahoe, and Reno, Nevada. And if you want to hear a rebroadcast of our show, check out our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. I'm Sharron Angle, your co-host, and we're coming to you from CPAC. I have a guest with me today that I'm really honored to introduce. This is my friend from Nevada. Her name is Colette. You work in our community with the homeless. Talk about the homeless issue and veterans specifically.
So we actually, through my church, we feed the homeless, and we have seen an uptick lately in how many homeless that we are feeding. There are some veterans out there. There are so many benefits for veterans, though. Anytime we see a veteran, and my husband will look for them while we're out there to make sure that they are taken care of. But there are housing vouchers and things like that to get them out from off of the streets. And so they are able to get these vouchers and get into a home there in the community. If you are homeless, or you know someone who is a homeless veteran, they have the voucher program at every VA medical center.
Now, I know that the homeless problem is an interesting one because a lot of times they don't want to come off the street. There's a certain amount of fear about being inside. Mm-hmm. So how do you approach someone who has that fear and say, there's a way that you can come off the street if they don't want to come off, I guess?
They have the right to choose. They have the right to choose. We can't make them come off the streets. We can just tell them what their benefits are and that we care about them, and we really want to make sure that they're healthy and safe. Now, it's cold in Reno, and in a lot of places it's very, very cold, and so some of them do want to come off the streets. A lot of times too that we're seeing the law enforcement go through, and they'll actually kick everyone out of a homeless tent type of area, and they'll ask them to go into shelters. So that's a good time to get them off the streets. They clean them up, and then they come right back. We don't see that they're leaving permanently. They do come back.
Now, we've had quite a lot of news lately about the homeless in places like San Francisco and how it's becoming a health problem. Do you see that when you're working with them, or, just kind of generally comment on that whole situation?
So we do. Like I said, we have seen an uptick in the homeless, and if there's more homeless and there's more tents and there's more trash, you are going to see some of those issues. Not like what we've seen on TV with San Francisco. We don't have poop patrols. We don't have anything like that that we have seen issues with. A lot of the homeless that we see, and we call them outdoorsmen. By the way, they're called outdoorsmen. A lot of the outdoorsmen that we see them over and over. We've been doing this for over 5 years, and the same outdoorsmen that come are there every single week when we're there.
And they live there year-round, even though there's this cold season.
They live there. Yes, we get a lot of donations. We just had someone donate about 60 sleeping bags, and we get donations of food. We get donations of water. So we're able to bless these outdoorsmen with those.
How do you approach a problem where obviously there's probably a mental health issue and they really do need the medical treatment?
So we usually bring out information flyers and let them know what is available and where it is available. All we can do is suggest it, and we give them that opportunity to accept it.
Now, we're talking about you going in and ministering truly to folks that nobody else really wants to look at the problem, or if they're looking at it, they're a little bit afraid of it, and especially now that we have this coronavirus thing that's becoming very real. How do you feel about that? Your own health and safety.
You asked that, and some of the people that come and volunteer with us, they're concerned. We always use gloves, and we always make sure that we are sanitary and safe, and not just that we're going to be handing out food, but we want to make sure that they're safe from us too, because we get colds, we get the flu, we get all those things too, and we want to protect them also from that. So that's kind of what we do.
You do go into this whole population, and you see them in a little different light, I think, than most people. When we get the news, we see the garbage, we see the filth, the trash, the needles, all of these things that we don't want our kids exposed to. Yet talk about who goes and volunteers and why you do that.
We have a team from our church that goes and volunteers, and they just have a heart for the homeless. They really do.
Now, what would you say to someone that says, well, you're just codependent with these people, you're actually part of the problem? If you wouldn't encourage them to be there and feed them and keep them coming, their population wouldn't go up, they'd have to move on down south. What do you say to a person that says that, you're just part of the problem?
So I'm a Christian woman, and I believe that we show that we're Christian by our love, and we love them.
When you start talking about this whole idea of who helps them, how do we help them, is it good help, is it not so great help, just that whole idea that you're encouraging the problem. Do you think the problem would go away if you did not minister to it?
No. They were there before we came, and they'll be there after.
Well, when I first met you, you used to, and maybe you still do, have a baggie in your car with clean socks and toothpaste and just kind of hygienic things.
A blessing bag.
Yes.
Blessing bag.
And if you saw someone on the street begging, you wanted to provide for their physical need, but it was not a monetary thing. You never gave them money. You gave them a blessing bag, and sometimes you buy them a hamburger if they were hungry. Talk about that blessing bag.
Okay, so we get a lot of donations, and some people go and travel, and they bring back, and they have their soaps and their shampoos and all of that good stuff. So we put that all in a bag, and we have socks and sometimes gloves, and sometimes we have a work party where we all get together and we put these blessing bags together. And then we just have them in our cars, and we also take them out to the homeless feeding time also. And we do that, what you just said. If we stopped at a light or something and there's someone there looking for a handout, we give them a blessing bag. I'll tell you, they're excited about getting new socks. They love having new socks.
Well, we talk about the filth and the trash, but what you're actually offering them, since you have a reality check here and say, these guys don't want to come indoors, we're not going to get them to live a different lifestyle. We need to at least intervene in their lifestyle with some hygienic help. And that's what you're really providing, isn't it?
It is, yes.
So
I would agree with that.
Yeah. So we were talking to some fellows yesterday about the walkaway movement, and what they've been able to do is go into areas and clean up the streets,
which is amazing. I think that is so wonderful. That is amazing. One of the things that we do while we're there is we make sure that everything is clean before we leave. We don't let there be trash anywhere. We clean it all up.
So it's one of those things where you can't expect law enforcement to do the whole job. You can't expect. No. We're not going to call in the veterans or the Marines or anyone to clean up the area. The policing of the area really kind of comes down to us, doesn't it?
Right.
Yes. So talk about how you, as a community person, acting in your community, ministering to this population that everybody has. We have kind of a double thought about this population. Tell our audience what they can do, how you recruit for your team, how you say, you should come join us, help us with this, and just tell us that.
Well, so I want to tell a story first.
All right.
So last year when, or maybe it was the year before, with the Paradise Fires. Was it last year? A family came through. It was a woman and her husband and 5 children, and she was pregnant with her 6th child, and they had come through. So they
were burned out. Their home was burned.
They were burned out of their homes at the Paradise Fires. So they came through, and they weren't asking for anything other than we had food there. But there were people that were so taken with their story that they were provided the funds to be able to travel to her parents' house in Southern California. So they were able to get I'm not sure if it was a bus ticket or what, but for all 6 of the family, or 7 of the family, because it was the father came through too. So it was the mother and the father and the 5 children. So they were able to travel to Southern California. And what a blessing that people even just there that saw that knew that, she didn't belong in Nevada, but that's where she ended up, because she thought maybe there were some kind of services that she could receive. And she had 5 children, and they were young. They were little children, and that they were able to help her get to Southern California, to her mom's house. So that was a blessing. So those are there's just so many different stories that I could tell you, but that was just
and I think there is those stories, and that's really what you get to know. You get to know these people and what their story is, don't you?
Yes.
Talk about who you see. Do you see women? Do you see young women? Do you see children? What do you see?
We see all of those. We do. We see families. We see ones that they've just had a hard time recently. Or we've seen some women that are a little bit older that are bringing their dog, and they, are maybe looking for some dog food for their dog. So it's the whole gamut.
Now, are you on
But I would say, let me just say though, the majority are men. The majority. We might see out of 60 men, we might see 2 women.
So are you on the lookout for that kind of thing, for the crime that can happen on the streets, like human trafficking?
We see, I think, more out there mental health issues.
So you mentioned mental health issues. Is there any way, even when you understand that there is a mental health issue, that you would report that, or are there any rules on reporting when you think there might be a crime or a mental health issue or even a health issue?
Some of the people that we go out there with are deacons or elders, and they are required to report if they see something like that.
We really, as a society, don't know what's happening there and can't really keep tabs on it, because most of these folks are law-abiding folks. They just like to live outside, and so you want to keep tabs on them so that they're not injured or hurt by someone who's coming through. Also, you don't want to be aiding and abetting crime. So there really needs to be someone who's kind of monitoring that, and you really do perform kind of a duty or civic responsibility, if you will, to monitor that. Do you have a way that people can friend you or follow you, that if they'd like to get involved with working with the homeless?
Okay, so it's a Fellowship Community Church, and it's Reno, Nevada.
Okay. Thank you so much for being our guest here on Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thank you, Sharron.
Well, you take care, and God bless.
Oh, thank you. God bless you,
and
too.
We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos radio show here at CPAC.